Tensions are rising globally as people look at the involvement of China, the US in the Ukraine-Russia war, and of course Europe back in Ukraine and sending more supplies to them to defeat Russia. It seems like an escalation and people are concerned about it, and investors want to know exactly what to do. So let's look at the facts everybody should need to know globally, and then let's look and give you opinions on what you should be doing if you're an investor. So first of all, what we've seen is, first of all, an escalation with more ammunition, more tanks, more supplies, more aircraft being given by Europe and the US to Ukraine. In fact, Japan as well has added extra aid into Ukraine. So we've seen this escalation where they seem to feel that Ukraine can defeat Russia. That seems to be the objective. But of course, it doesn't stop there. Does Russia retaliate? Does it retaliate against the people that are sending the weapons? After all, when we look at it, and I try and look at it independently and look at it as an observer, where's the line? Are you in the war? Are you not in the war? By training people? Are you involved in the war, or are you just back in a particular country? Where's the line between involvement and actually being involved in the attack by what you've actually done? It's a fine line, in my opinion. You may have a different opinion. Leave a comment below. What's the effect? Well, we've seen now Biden on the anniversary go to Ukraine. And of course, that again has seen another escalation as he supports Ukraine. Putin is going to be making a speech. It's expected. He wants to go down in history as the Tsar that made a difference. What is his objective? China, for me, is the biggest player in this field. Why? Let's have a look at the facts. If China doesn't buy oil from Russia, then Russia struggles. Right now, what we're seeing is that Russia is still able to sell its goods in the direction of the Far East, into Asia, into India, into South Africa, into those countries. And of course, those countries take supplies. In fact, there's said to be military maneuvers planned by China, South Africa, and Russia collectively. Is this an escalation? Well, again, it would certainly appear to be. Is it just people are worrying about nothing? China now is sending its highest level diplomat to Russia. Is it going to say to Russia, let's negotiate? And of course, there's been rumors that China will try and negotiate a settlement. China has a big part to play. If it doesn't buy the goods, then again, it causes Russia an issue. Will it supply Russia with a defense? Of course, that would be a massive escalation in the current crisis as it is right now. So people look at it. Okay, all we can do is say, here's the facts. Right now, we're seeing an escalation. There's no doubt about it. There's an escalation. Where does that lead? Okay, well, now it's an opinion. So you can have your own opinion. I can have my own opinion. Everybody does that and hopes that somebody, and China in particular, for me, now we're opinions, are the country that can actually try and sort this out, try and get it to relax and actually do the negotiations. US, okay, what part are they playing? Will they actually back down and, if you like, force Ukraine? Because don't forget, we look at this and we go, it's Ukraine versus Russia. Okay, well, right now it seems to be that it's China versus the US. In other words, Russia won't do anything unless it's got China support. Ukraine won't do anything unless it's got America support. So for me, okay, again, it's an opinion. We're actually seeing that really it might be playing out between Russia and Ukraine, but actually it's other countries' involvements that are causing the escalation. Have your own opinion, but that is what I'm seeing as the facts on everything that I'm reading. Now, my job, financial analyst, financial advisor, is to look at that and say, okay, what does that mean? In other words, I'm looking at how do people protect their wealth? How do they make sure that they, in these times of crisis, can hedge against an issue? So what things would go well? What investments would do well? Energy is one sector. Okay, for me, energy is a sector that you've got to have some sort of exposure to. Why? Well, if the crisis steps up, energy stock are going to do well. If the crisis doesn't step up, okay, well then actually energy stock are still going to do well. Why? Because you've got China right now, and this is massive from a financial point of view, is stimulating its economy. So we've got exactly the reverse. We've got a US situation where they're tightening, raising interest rates. You've got China with low inflation, low multiples for its stock, is actually adding liquidity to the market and is stimulating the economy. Okay, don't forget that oil is used more in Asia than it is in America. In other words, we've got the manufacturing there. As the countries step up and emerging markets come, there's more energy needed. So for me, energy is one that I would have in my particular portfolio. Again, you'd always diversify, not look to one particular sector, but you'd go, right, okay, energy, if there's a crisis, it's going to do well. If there's not a crisis and China and Asia grow, then guess what? Energy is going to do well as well. So for me, it's one to hedge. Okay, then I'd be looking at agriculture. Why? Again, you've got similar situation whereby people are always going to need goods, always going to need agriculture. And as more and more people in Asia eat meat, as the middle classes move up, they tend to eat more meat, they need more grain, agriculture becomes even more important. Again, in times of crisis, we obviously see people continue to use and continue to have food. Agriculture for me is a no-brainer. You've also got the same situation whereby Russia produces so much of the fertilizer. Again, agriculture is going to be super, super important for me going forward. So we look at the crisis. I'm not a politician. I'm not somebody who can give you, that's going to happen from a political point of view. You have your own opinions and you should have your own opinions. I'm just giving you, this is happening. This is my interpretation from it on how you can hedge your investments. If you gain something from the video, please like, please share. If you agree or disagree, give me a comment below. Okay, please subscribe. I'll put out information on a regular basis on what I think is going to happen as an experienced investor in the markets. Always diversify, always seek personal financial advice.